Again.
Yeah, Fosti, wanted to talk about developing this group of pitchers that you have. Going back to when you first came here, there was, I think, a pitching summit. When was the first pitching summit? And it's, I understand it's an annual event, right?
It is from the standpoint of us revisiting what we originated. And it was between 15 and 16. It was the off season going into the 2016 after my first year. And we just met as a complete group, and all the pitching coaches are still here. All the coordinators are still here. Mark Wiley, the director of pitching, still here. So a lot of the things that we put together along with Zach Wilson, the farm director, helped us start somewhere with an idea, and coming up with concepts that we could teach from the bottom to the top that helped build in a mental toughness and having guys prepared for the major leagues and being pitchers for the Colorado Rockies. It's a unique place, as you know, and it's unlike anywhere else. And it takes an incredible, not just intuitiveness to baseball, but a mindset that if you don't have, it's very hard to be successful. And those summits take place now in the off season, where we visit as a group. This past off season, naturally with the COVID, we did most of it on Zoom. But outside of that, there's been conference calls with the group, making sure that we're adding and subtracting things along the way to what our system is doing.
When you did come up with that, because it seemed a lot of times you would want to say, hey, this is just like any other place, just go out there and pitch. It seemed like you guys decided, no, you're not, you weren't going to ignore it. You just weren't going to use it as an excuse. What was the theme behind, sitting there and saying, we're different, we're going to have to come up with different ways of doing this?
That's a great question. And I think, Thomas, we say this, if not weekly, if not daily, weekly. And that is, altitude matters, but your attitude matters more. And I think that's important wherever you're at in life and whatever you're doing. Your attitude, your mindset, the patterns of your thinking on display for others to see. That's really what your attitude is. And our attitude as pitchers for the Colorado Rockies is that we can overcome anything. And that this is a spot that was created for those young men, coaches who are willing to take on what many people think is impossible and believe you can do it. And I think, with that attitude, anything's achievable. The things your mind can achieve, the things your mind can conceive, you can achieve. And that's the mindset of, altitude does matter. Let's not deny it. It's a reality. The ball flies further in Colorado. We have bigger gaps. Things happen. So what? Grab the ball, make a pitch. And, when you see John Gray take his breath in between pitches, he's focusing on the very pitch that he's about to throw and not worried about what happened last inning or what could happen with the guy on deck. It's focusing on the now and the present. And when you do that, you give yourself a great chance of being successful. And I think that's what we've tried to do here. And I think we have the right young men, and we're going to continue, I believe, to keep giving our team a chance to win. And that's all a starting pitching group can do. Did
you, when you walked out of the first summit, did you guys feel like, is this thing going to work? I mean, how did you feel about it? And when did you know, hey, especially those playoff years, it's working?
There's never a time that you can't feel like it won't work. I think that successful people in life believe in something. If they don't believe in something, they'll fall for anything. And I believe that when you put something together and you're prepared and you believe in it, not just with your head, not just reason, but with your heart, and your head and heart's engaged in what you're doing, that you can achieve whatever you think you can. And that's regardless of whatever you're doing. If you're swimming through sharks, yeah, whatever you're doing and wherever it's at, I just believe that God's created us and given us an ability to do things when we trust him. And I think we've got something special here.
And the guys learning to change speeds or even throw a curveball, because that was one of the tropes of this place, was that you couldn't throw a curveball. It seemed like you guys decided guys are going to change speeds, and if you have a breaking pitch, you're going to throw it. Was that a controversial thought even in that first meeting where you're in there with Wiley and some of the guys who had trained pitchers and had seen things happen here before?
Hey, man, if you got a weapon, why wouldn't you use it? If it breaks less at home than it does on the road, and with some guys it does, with not with all guys, but you've got to believe in the pitches that you have as a pitcher, and then you've got to be willing to throw them, even though they may not break as much in the thin air as they do when you're on the road. The adjustment, for being the pitching coach here now into my 7th year and seeing the numerous replay videos of the games on the road, to watching sides at home at Coors Field. I mean, there's no doubt the ball breaks differently. Again, can't deny it. I see it too often, and the data and the science support that. And Thomas, you and I have had conversations about this on the vertical and the horizontal and how it's different with some, but not all. And the reality is that each pitcher's been given certain abilities to do what other pitchers can't do. And that's why they become major leaguers. They fight their way through the minor leagues, throwing the pitches that they have. And then when they get to the big leagues, because of where they play, they don't change what they do. They simply change their mindset some and how they use the pitch, when they use the pitch, and what their target is on where the pitch finishes. And I've had guys here over the 7 years that were afraid to throw their curveball because they knew it broke less. And I've tried to help guys overcome that thinking. But a majority of the guys that we have here are fearless. They're fearless competitors, and they're not afraid to use every pitch that they have, including the curveball.
Is it harder to develop relievers here?
Develop? I don't know. I mean, Carlos Estevez, who came through our system's done quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Incy Almonte's had some spots where he hasn't been very good this year, but he's had some periods where he's done very well. These are guys that have been developed. I know Yancey, we got in a trade, but came through some of our minor leagues, and Daryl Scott and Darren Holmes both have done a tremendous job of helping guys stay positive. You're going to go out there and you're going to give up a 3-run homer. You got to believe we're going to win. You got to execute the next pitch. You can't focus on it. And so the development is mental training more than it is anything else, Thomas. And can that be developed? You bet. And do I believe that can happen? Yes. I think Lucas Gilbreth is a great example. I think Justin Lawrence is a good example of 2 young guys that are going to be Colorado Rockies for numerous years and have been drafted by the Rockies and groomed by the Rockies and have pitched in difficult places and believe they can pitch at Coors Field.
All right. Hey, that last one for me. When it comes to changing speeds, I know the curveball was kind of used as a pitch to get people off the fastball. Changeup is one that you guys emphasize even after they get to the big leagues. How important is it to have a changeup? It seems like that's something that throughout your system, you tell guys, you've got to have this thing here.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, hitting's timing, and having a curveball or a changeup, something to change the timing and rhythm of the hitter is so important. It's important for a 10-year-old who wants to be a pitcher to be able to start throwing a changeup, to mess with the timing of the hitter. And man, it's a magical moment when you're a young kid at 10 and 12 years old, which I once was, with a full head of hair. And the magical moment when you throw the first changeup and you see that guy swing and be out in front of it and think, wow, that just happened. I mean, and all I had to do was not throw the ball as hard as I could. And still at the big leagues, when a kid's 24 years old, I call them kids because they still feel like kids to me, 24, 26 years old, it's still important to learn and throw. And so many young guys still get to the big leagues and haven't mastered their changeups Kyle Freeland, Herman Marquez, Antonio Senzatella, John Gray, all these guys still had changeup development to master. Even when they got to the major leagues, they hadn't mastered it. They'd gotten through the minor leagues, through college or their secondary baseball if they were from a foreign country, and still hadn't gotten a plus changeup, but had enough velocity or enough movement or nasty breaking ball to dominate the levels that they got to. Yet when they got to the big leagues, that changeup development still hadn't occurred. And those are things that have, as you've seen, have taken place over these last 4 or 5 years. Especially John Gray's changeup has gone from where he hardly used the pitch to now it's a weapon. Kyle Freeland, same. Antonio Senzatella already had a changeup through the minor leagues. I just think it's gradually gotten better, and Marquis continues to get better every day. And Gomber got here with a pretty good changeup already from the Cardinal system.
Right. Hey, I'm sorry, I had one last one, but you look at the stats here and how this team has gone this year. You guys look like a pitching-oriented team that people thought they'd never say about the Rockies. I mean, but the thing is, pitching does win. So how proud are you guys of at least, having that to where when you do well, pitching is a huge part of it?
The game of baseball starts with pitching. It always has. It's always been very important. You've got to score runs to win games. You got to play great defense to win games, but it starts on the mound and the mentality of the pitchers. And I'm proud of where we are from that standpoint of giving our team a chance to win. But, it's a day-to-day thing, man. I'm not happy being 18-29, and I know that Buddy Black's not either, and I know that none of these pitchers are, and none of the hitters. Nobody in this locker room is happy about it, and there's pressure with it, and it's part of being in professional baseball. But you never quit, and you always believe you're just a day away from another, win streak. And you never quit, and you never give up, and you always believe that today's the day.